Hello Facebookers, YouTubers, those who might care and be watching this, which I don't know if anybody actually will. This is my personal rant, a rant which I feel necessary to speak of, a rant which is long overdue and well needed. I've noticed here in the last couple years, since being home, that this day and age, things as honesty, decency, integrity, dignity, morals, loyalty, dependability, reliability, and commitment are all basically oxymorons to almost everyone and anyone in society. But however, not to a very select few, and that select few is becoming even more selective as days and time seems to pass onward, losing the hope of humanity along with it. It is disturbing. Also, I've noticed some other things that are messed up too. In certain social hierarchies, such as religious, governmental, political, they are complete zealots. They are bigotists. They are well guarded, and they believe they are entitled to certain privies within the society social setting. This self-absorbed, they have this self-absorbed notion or belief that their actions against the lesser class, as they deem them as fit, that their actions are allowed and or justified simply because they hold an alleged higher moral social status than those that they deem lesser than them or not as privy as them. And it is also sad and pitiful that many people today are completely misinformed, misguided, spoken half-truths, and believe unverifiable rumors. All because of the censorship, all because we choose not to inform people because of sensitive tolerance and basically informing people on a need-to-know basis of certain fundamental beneficial information regarding relevant issues, topics, and worldly news. One of my other thoughts about the opinionated thought of mine that I have, this country, most of its inhabitants and people who live here, their behaviors and all their actions and towards each other is completely unnecessary, inexcusably, selfishly unwarranted, and completely and utterly distasteful. It's deplorable. It's just ridiculous. It seems like everyone today has become codependent and relied upon technology. Going to the social media networking sites and depending upon them to be informed, to be knowledgeable, to be understood, to get connected with society, instead of what it used to be: books, watching television on the important issues, connecting with friends and family, Facebook, face to face, not Facebook. And gradually, it's deteriorating the very wholesome morally ethics, and traditions that basically turns people into a cynically corrupt ass-backward conformist societal puppets. It's just so sad to say that within a matter of weeks that I have witnessed social media networking sites basically, along with unfalsified rumors that have basically destroyed families, relationships, personal and interpersonal relationships, and just completely obliterated. All those things seem to do that. They don't care. People don't realize how easily people are manipulated and how easily that technology, social media sites seem to tear the very fabric of who we are and break us down into nothingness. We are a society that is overly dependent on these things. And we believe the rumors from the internet. We depend upon this for the validation of the internet to validate people. and to communicate with people. Whatever happened to just talking face to face instead of punching in keystrokes on a cell phone and texting someone? Whatever happened instead of putting memories on Facebook, putting them in a scrapbook, gathering every so often, monthly, yearly, and discussing memories? Whatever happened to family values, sitting down and eating a meal without having to text what you want and what you don't want, instead of just telling them? Whatever happened to just building relationships, setting down your phone, and quit digging your nose into it and having this trust issue? Yes, we all had something that we didn't trust, or someone we didn't trust back when we were growing up. Whether it be today, yesterday, in the 1980s or 90s. But whatever time and period you grew up in, whatever generation you stepped into, or what you were living in or grew up in, it is today, in this new millennium, that the millenniums and people who live in this new millennium that are corrupted, that are turned against each other because it is justifiably right because of the technology, which is completely the complete opposite of that. It's not justifiable. It's ridiculous. Unnecessary. It's so sad and just pitiful. Completely. It's just indisputably sad. It's unbelievable. Also, on that topic of certain things of misinformed guide information, I have had the unpleasant, obnoxiously infuriating experience of interacting and encountering individuals and folks who are unbelievably disrespectful, unappreciative, arrogantly misinformed, misguided, and completely oblivious about the military, those who serve this country, and what goes on over there. And the stereotypical disbelief of those who serve this country without having to rely upon that of the big screen. Things of this one, who serve this country for this once great nation. It's disturbing, it's sad, it's infuriating, it's annoying, it's out of place. Honestly, I mean, does anybody actually know the truth? I mean, come on. Seriously. I mean, we are in a day and age, in a modern day, where we are so consistently misinformed, lacking the proper educational understanding. So that way none of the society today will be able to live up to an example of an ideal paragon of humanity, rather than what it currently is. And because we're not doing any of that stuff, we're misguiding, we're changing the way we believe things, the way we see things, the way we're sensorizing information, and how we're raising our children to be okay with their behaviors. How we're okay with society degrading. There are things needed changing, yes. There are things that needed to be altered and edited. But the way we're doing it, we have lost the grip and reality of the morals and decency that once was humanity. And it's sad, it's disturbing, it's just gut-wrenching, nerve-wracking, and it's just completely deplorable and out of place for those who lived. It's just wrong. A lot of people ask me who I am. Ask to validate who I am, because my life seems sketchy to them, because my life lived in a time period long ago and far away, without technology, without that of the social internets or the digital footprints, in a time period where all those morals and decencies and the way a man lived was based upon his actions that he stepped into his life. He was not judged or asked to validate himself. It was only by the actions he deemed that was in question of who he was. I grew up in that period doing the things that to most would never sound extravagant, out of place for those who lived in that time period, those who know what it's like to sit down to a family meal, to know the disciplines of a parent, to know how much they cared and so much that they would strike you down to implement the fear of God inside of you. But not everyone was like that. No, there were some parents who went above and beyond the moral degradation of society and literally brought you to the brink of death. Yes. There were some. But there was also good and bad. That back then, there was no gray lines. There was no differences. It was either black or white. It was either understood or not understood. And if it needed to be understood, it was made to be understood. You were educated. You were informed. You were given the proper guidance. Because you were a country. You were a nation. You were a upbrought child in a society where you were needed to know what was truly happening. It was only you that would define whether you wanted to know it or not, and how you took it and what you did with information. The 70s, 80s, 90s, 60s, 50s, it defined a generation that was corrupted. Some of us were, some of us weren't, but it turned us against one another. It pitted us against the very fabric of who we are and how we would bring up our children, and how we would treat those from that moment on, and how people in religious churches and governmental officials and political people, and today all that is ass backwards. People in churches hold Bibles as shields to deflect or to defend their unjustifiable, inhumane lack of raw humanity and indecencies amongst those who are a lesser grade of not believing in their God, in their church, in their ways. They define that God has pushed them to Google somebody. They say, God made me doubt you, so he made me Google you. I don't think so. We live in a world where we are corrupted by the very fiber of doubt. A man could do all the great things in the world, but a single whisper of a doubt or rumor of him, and he is destroyed. His integrity, everything he's done, all the good that he's done, is torn to the ground and burned and put into question under a microscope, and therefore he is the enemy at hand no matter how good he's done. To his friends and family, he becomes the outsider, the person in question, even though they've known him for years. All it takes is one bad, unverifiable, falsified rumor to destroy man, destroy a person. Humankind is seriously on a downslope of devolving. We live in a day and age where shit goes sideways, and we blame the first person who seems like they don't have it all. We turn into the monsters we feared. We swore we never would. And I must be honest with everyone here, and plain spoken. For those who might give a damn, and those who might not, and I don't care whether or not, because I live in a world, and I live in myself. I accept me for who I am. I accept what I am. I am somebody. Who am I? That is a good question. My name is ToJo Shadowheart. I'm 52 years old. I'm dying of GBM, glastoplasmid monomium, brain cancer. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. I've lived a life that is not good, not bad, nor a fantasy life. Sorry for that. I have lived a life in a dark period, in a time period where morals and ethics and values stood for something. I look young for my age. Congratulations. If I was a celebrity, not a damn one person would question who the hell I was or my age, or ask for validation of who I was. Because my life was lived in tyranny, oppression, happiness, joy, and what is considered in this day and age to be impossible to live. Because today's world has failed to see that sheer willpower, determination can accomplish all and everything. If one puts their mind to it and doesn't give up just because, oh, it's raining outside, oh, I got a headache, or something, or oh my god, I didn't get the promotion, or anything in the smallest sense just knocks you off your broken limbs and knocks you to the ground. People want to judge me, people want to criticize me, they want to accuse me of being a negative mind. You go right ahead. You want to question me and who I was? You can't do worse than me. You can't question my own doubt of who I am, because of things that I've done in the name of freedom, in the name of this country. The things that I have done to breathe in and breathe out. The moments of despair, the lonely hours, the nightmares that do not cease, and every waking hour. The regrets, the things I can't change, the haunted memories. When fireworks go off, I hit the ground and try not to go crazy. When I get let down by those who I trust, I try not to hate them. When people are misinformed, misguided, and bigoted, and biased, and judgmental, I try not to hate them. I try not to go after them. I try not to be vengeful and vindictive. Instead, I'm ever vigilant and trying to stay on the path of who I am, an individualist. Being myself, being unique, being indifferent, being myself despite all those who try to oppose me and bring me down to their level, to conform, to bend under their will, under their accusations, their presumptions, their intentions of falsified goodness and Christianity and what they think they know. Instead of asking, they assume. Instead of just going into things and believing and having the wholehearted belief that I have lived a life that has both been good and bad, and I'm trying to go forward because you asked me about it. Instead, they want to Google me, verify my past, try to dig up as much dirt as they can just to try to destroy my integrity, to bring me to my knees. Well, guess what? You're not going to. None of you are. In the past, yes, you may have. But just know, no matter what happens in this life, in the next, and whatever may go on, whoever I may encounter, whatever person may watch this, just know, I'm not a negative person. This is my opinion. These are my thoughts. These are how I speak. If I sound angry, I guess you don't know me. I'm very passionate. I'm very driven to a point. I don't have the time nor the inclination to try to explain myself, validate myself, or even try to help those who basically sleep under the very blanket securities and freedoms and equalities and liberties to which I have provided, fought and defended and bled and watched my brothers die for. Nor do I have the time and patience to try to do anything for those whiny, snivelly, narcissistic, self-depraved, cynically corrupt, selfish ingrates who live their every waking hour in a delusionary, fictional reality just so they can avoid the cold, harsh reality of this world and what it truly is. And try to bring me to their level, drag me down into that mire of their own despair and their own self-hatred and their own deplorable actions against me because they feel like, hey, his life is fictional because he's still standing and he's been through all this crap, so let's doubt it. Because they can't see clearly enough to understand that there is a way, and there is a will, and there is a how, and there is an ability to do so because I have the sheer willpower to stand up even though you don't see me invisibly broken. Because truly, when I stare in that mirror, this is all broken. Everything. I am a beautiful kaleidoscope mosaic. I am the most awesome work of art because I have learned to adapt, improvise, and overcome any and all diversities, all perilous and harrowing trials and tribulations, from hopelessness to betrayal to abandonment to being degraded, belittled, doubted, judged, and ridiculed by those who I thought were my friends and my family, and those who I consider the closest to me, those who I gave everything to and got nothing in return, nor did I ever ask for it. So just know this. I would rather not be constantly and consistently scrutinized and ridiculed and doubted by those who they think want to know who I am by simple words I speak because I say something. I give them information to what they need to know. Not what they know, not what they actually need to know, but what they need to know just to see what actions they do. To see whether they're going to judge me, doubt me, judge me, jury me, and then execute me because they are simply a stuck-up, self-absorbed, sanctimonious ignoramus who just feels like they need to to destroy someone's life because they feel like they need to, because it's what they've been doing, and they don't even realize they're doing it anymore because they've done it so much, and they became that monster they feared, and they don't even realize it anymore. I just want someone to accept me as I am. Accept me as I am and see the things that I've done not as a question mark, but rather as an inspiration, a drive, a curiosity to know how and when and why, to know the things I've done, instead of going, well, tell me how and when the dates. You know, instead of trying to go to your browser history and Google my ass. Accept me as I am. Stand beside me, walk beside me, and you'll see. And you'll find out you're the greatest friend you'll ever know, the greatest person, the greatest ideal match that someone might ever meet. But because this world is so stuck up in themselves, so self-depraving, so lost within their own demons, and captured and suffocated by the things that they fear the most, and become that monster they fear, and the person they don't even realize that they truly are because of the things that happened to them in their past, because they're in self-denial so much that they just accept it as it is and don't realize the truth because they're stuck there. Because people like that, I am now ostracized, cast out, and I am now the person who is considered to be the liar, the habitual, corrupt, invalidated liar to everyone and almost everyone I meet, because simply I'm young looking. Oh my God, that is what the key feature of doubting who I am. Also, the other key feature to doubting who I am is the fact that I've lived a life that is not crazy, not outlandish, not unbelievable, but just because I've lived in a time period where all that stuff was possible, because back then people had sheer willpower and determination, despite everything, despite the times when things were down and out. Because today that world doesn't exist. Because today that world of sheer willpower, determination, and independence and individuality is considered taboo, prohibited, against everything. And this world will do what they have to do to try to destroy that person who is an individualist and drag them into the flock of the conformist societal puppets who are just sheep walking. So do me a favor. Accept me as I am. Take this into heart. Adhere to what I say. Or leave me the fuck alone. Leave me the hell alone. Leave me just don't even mention me. Don't even talk to me. Don't even comment. You know? Basically summoning this all up in one giant ass sentence in the best way I can. Humankind in a whole is lacking in several pertinent areas of vital behavioral acts of decency and humanity in each individual that inhales and exhales a breath of life at every corner of this great once nation. We are a world corrupted by things of simplicity, making them into the most complex and most difficult things. We lack the gumption. We lack the sheer willpower, a lot of us today. And those who do have it, those who actually stand on it, because it's something they have, and they're not willing to give it up. You are the first ones that will fall. But do not fall. Stand strong. Be resilient. Be defiant. Be unique. But if you happen to fall, my condolences. And if you've already fallen, again, my condolences. And I wish there is recovery for you, and I hope there is. Remember who you are. Remember where you came from. Remember that is the past. It is a stepping stone, an educational learning curve. Instead of judging a person by that past and by how they are and how it seems unbelievable, instead of asking to validate themselves, do the world a favor. Listen to their story. Take into heart how much they've grown and how much they've tried to go forward. believe in that person, and let their actions from that moment on, if you decide to become acquainted with them, let their actions from that moment on define who they are to you. If you're a friend to somebody, and you've been friends for a long time, do not let a whisper of an unverified false rumor destroy your friendship, your relationship, or your connection to that person. Don't let social media network sites either do that to your relationship, your friendship, or your connection with that person. Instead of trying to doubt somebody and put it into question and try to think that you're better than them by proving your worth to them, by trying to go out and try to validate their story, why don't you try to do the good thing and help them? When someone tells you a story of desperation or despair or misery or of a very troubled life, instead of trying to validate it, trying to prove that what they said is an attention grabber, why don't you do your part as a Christian or as a person in whole and try to be part of their life so they don't feel that darkness, so they don't feel consumed and all that hatred for all humanity, for all the things that they loathe because of what they've been through and how much they question themselves and society and humanity. And as Christians, those who grab the Bible, sit in the pews, preach the Word of God, spew it from their mouth, live the Word of God. Live the Word that you preach. Live the life that you have learned and grew up with. Quit acting like the Bible is your defense, your shield, and your reason for unjustifiable, undecent acts of immoral degradation against those who you believe and deem unworthy of the Word of God. Quit acting like you have all the power. As far as my governmental and political friends, well, that is a process that is long overdue to be scrutinized by someone who's more adept and knowledgeable about that. I've only had pieces of that. I don't know everything, but what I do know is that it's pretty sad of how we treat veterans who serve this country and how easily it is for people who claim political refugees and other things like this to walk in this country. It is sad how we have criminals and misogynists and people in the office who just take advantage of this country and think that it's easily done. It's disturbingly sad. Do we live in a world of peace, integrity, or do we live in a world where things are just backwards? It's a good question. Do we live in a darkness? Do we live in a world which is corrupted by things? I don't know anymore. But what I do know is that I live in a world where I am faceless. Where I am nobody. That I am ostracized and put into the spotlight so often and forgotten about. I live in a time period that no longer exists. I live in an older time, a time period that no longer seems to have a relevance. But whatever that may cost, and whatever life that may be, is it for you or anyone else to judge? Is my life for you to judge? No. But yet, it is done so freely, so willingly, without caution, heeding, or even second thought. How sad and how far we have dropped from the humans we once were, the decent, moral, ethnically guided humans that we once were. Where have we got lost? Where have we fell from grace? How easily we've done it. I am just appalled by all that I've seen and witnessed, and all that I knew has become a thing of the past. Forgotten about, taboo, irrelevant, inert, null and void, and just seen movies. Whoever watches this, I hope that this awakens a part of yourself, or it startles you, or shakes you, or makes you question things, or look at things closer. I hope it makes you want to wonder whether or not the people you know are really your friends. Whether the cell phone or the computer you're on is necessary. Or the person who said something about their life who would seem questionable isn't questionable, which is just a means to who they are and how they got there. I wonder if those who are Christians who might watch this wonder whether or not their actions are in question because of how they treat others, because of their moral values of how they think they are. I wonder if those who might watch this will go, he's speaking truth, or he's just speaking out of his ass for attention grabbing, and he's just wanting people to comment and come to him and, things. No. Whoever wants to watch this, your opinions, your thoughts, are your own. I won't hate. I'm not vindictive. This is my rant. This is my life. This is who I am. This is what life is. It is a cold, harsh reality that we live in. A dark, sinister, devilish reality of negativity and immoral acts of indecency of humanity and the lack of it. And there are sheer moments of blissfulness that we live. They are fleeting, but they are there. Look around you. Put your life under a microscope. Put those around you under a microscope briefly and only temporarily. But if you already have done that and you already are doing that, then okay. But if you don't, that's your choice. And then take a closer look at yourself as well, and ask yourself these questions. Do I only believe the people who seem cool? Did I change who I was to fit in because I didn't fit in before? Did I lose myself, and do I question myself ever in the things that I do? Do I use my religious status in the Bible as a means to justify hating people or doubting people or treating them like crap? Do I believe rumors easily without validation? Do I drive myself to the computer to validate someone's past? Do I doubt them without really knowing them? Do I think crazy thoughts about someone because they seem like they've lived a really questionable lifestyle because they're stronger than me and they're standing up? Ask yourself these questions. And if you're all wondering if I've asked myself these questions, yeah, I have. And I know my answers. I don't need to tell you because it doesn't matter. So, concluding this, I will say this. This video is not an attention grabber. This video is simply my thoughts and opinions that I want to speak of that no one gives a fuck to listen to, really. And so whoever watches this, just know my voice is online. Because, well, that's where everybody else is. And so, if you're watching this, guess what? You've heard what I've had to say. If you're not watching this and you just passed it by, then you're one of those statistical assholes who just don't give a fuck and don't want to listen to somebody's actual thoughts. Because, well, you're a dick. And you're an ass. And you're just corrupted by society's immoral acts. Or you are watching this and you've gotten to this part and you care and it's rattled you. Or it's touched a part of you and made you question it. Not all of it, but some of it maybe. Anyways. Stay Semper Gumby. Always be flexible in everything you do. Always be willing to change and adapt and revise. Stay Semper Fidelis to who you are. Be always faithful to everything and anything you do and who you were and who you always will be. Be steady. Be steadfast. Be unwavering. Be true to yourself. And never let a voice of doubt and hatred be the reason you turn and change into a societal, conformist, sheep-like puppet. Good day, good night, good evening, and farewell, my Facebookers, YouTubers, and those of possible interest, and those who don't give a damn at all. Hoorah!